Got the top of my head. There we go. All right. Good morning. So
Howdy.
that should be YouTube Live will tune in here and start talking to us, and then I'll be able to turn that screen off when it's all good to go. There we are. Got the top of my head. There we go. All right, so that is on. Well, good morning. I'll share my screen and start out all fancy like. Well, I mean, as fancy as I am. Uh, so we got that's next week's thing. What am I doing here? Come on. Why is it thinking real hard?
Because it's Friday.
Okay. It is. Okay, so we're gonna go to this one here, and I'm gonna push Shift F5 because in LibreOffice that starts where you want to go. Cool. Um, yeah. So the Adams Friday Flow with Entrepreneurs is what we're doing there. We got YouTube channel on, so you can use that if you want. That's right. There we go. On my screen, I have the one down here that has the screen you guys are all seeing, and then I have up here I have the presenter's view. And I thought you could just click on this because it shows me the next slide coming up, but I can't just click on the next slide and it goes to it, which would be really cool. Oh, but there's little buttons on the bottom here. Okay, anyway, engage challenges, tend to whim, connect your biz topic because it's what our big goal here is, increase our ability to serve others and bring our services to others. Note, I am only using this stuff to kind of maintain my stuff. It's funny because I put that comment on there, partly because someone made a comment, but I wouldn't have known people were thinking about it. But the fact that I'm an organizer and I don't appear to be very organized, which is not actually much of a, it's not much of appearances, is that I just kind of use this stuff because I'm trying to figure out systems that work here, and this seems to work out okay for now. I actually switched from using Google Slides to using LibreOffice when I can. I still have a Google Slides that I use when I'm on mobile because it's handy when it's mobile. Whereas this LibreOffice version of PowerPoint, basically, called LibreOffice Impress. That's what they call it. That's their name. It's actually kind of handy because it's more light. It's more desktop friendly and does some cool things that I really like. And so it's kind of cool, but so I use both versions, but I'm getting better at figuring out how to make it work for me. And that's part of the reason I do this. In addition to getting to meet new people like Colby and Phil. But I knew Phil before the COVID shutdown stuff happened even. Attendee greeting, who and what we do. We're going to do the open discussion, and then we'll have our 10-second ask at the end, so I can help you with your quest. And here we go. Welcome to Adam's Flow Forum with entrepreneurs. You may have noticed I changed up the Flow Forum from Friday Flow because I'm thinking about possibly trying something different on a different day, but we'll talk about that if I remember later. I'm going to go right into the topic. And challenge question was, have you seen polls put to good use in meeting settings? And how? And I got one response back, and this attendee hasn't shown up yet, but the answer was no.
No, I think polls are pretty worthless.
Yeah, that's funny. So we'll talk a little more about that in just a bit. uh, on that topic, let's get to know the people that are actually chit-chatting with us. You put it in the, what have I got here? This chat box. So you put your website on there, any publishable intro you'd like to have. You put that on there, and I'll follow the chat in order for you to introduce yourself. And since we know each other, it'd be just us practicing how to talk to each other about what we do. So that's what that'll be about. And the way that we go when we actually talk is going to be your name, how your business works, and what your quest is. And I'm going to switch to a new share here. Oh wait, this is So this is one of the things I do like about, oh, there. I like about Google is that I can easily just click on this and then right now I'm seeing the change on my page, but you guys don't see it because I just shared the window. So one of the advantages of using Google Slides is that when I have a new share or when I change, when I click on a link, it jumps right to it. But now I've got to go back into my share new and I'm going to find the page and there we are. So this is I'm hesitant to call it my new site because it's still the old site. But I guess I've got something new to show here. And this is kind of fun, Colby, since this is your realm, talking to you about it. So this is the new website that my lady's got going on. Only because we're still working on the website, but she wanted to get in here and change this up. So she changed the color because that's all that this free Google Business allows you to do is like kind of change a bit of the theme, but otherwise it stays the same. And so this is my new logo. The background is something else. It's a little busy, but okay. But there's the new logo and fonts and all that good stuff. And then we reduced the amount of, no, did we? Oh, she said she was going to reduce the amount of stuff here, but posted this because I'm, big into bikes and things. She thought that was a good thing to put in there because that's one of the things I'm going to focus on. It's helping people organize so they can get out and bike more and do other good stuff. And and there's some reviews. So my big quest is to make it so people can go out and do the things they want to do or stay in and do the things they want to do. They want to make ideas happen. And so that's how their sparks will flow. And the way I do that is I show up at your home, or I can do virtual, which I've done a couple times, and that's been pretty handy too. And I help people figure out how they can change the world so they can get to the things that they really dream about doing. Now I'm going to go to chat, but I don't see chat here on this little thingy. Oh, it's up there. And nobody's posted anything in the chat. Colby and Phil, do you guys have websites?
Well, yeah, as you know, Adam, I did have a website. I've actually let it expire this month because I've moved on from it and it's not giving me any revenue whatsoever or any leads. And I've kind of changed my strategic focus a little bit. So I decided I'm not going to fund it anymore. And I'm going to probably think about doing something new on the website that kind of ties in with the book.
Okay, cool. Well, Colby is having a hard time with the internet, so he might be back in a bit. But so how's the book going?
Well, I'm getting really pissed off with the
publisher people.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I mean, I'm in the final proofread, so I think I'm only going to be. I spoke to them at April, and said, will we get a publish in May, and we kind of planned on getting a publishing done in May, and then May come and went, and that hasn't happened. So we're into the final proofread. There is about, well, they brought in about 100 changes that had to be made on the book.
Yeah,
just small, to make it right. And then I went through those and agreed all of them. And then I went through the book again. And I was really surprised at how many more changes I found that were needed that they didn't pick up.
Oh,
Some of them were really just so obvious. I mean, a couple of the pie charts, when you looked at the labels on the pie charts, they were blurry. I mean, come on, boys. What does it take to realize this? And then in the part 2 section, all right, they've still got on the top of the page, you have like on the top of the page, you have the, you remove 5, for example.
yeah.
All right. And then that chapter ends and you go into part 2. Well, they've still got the previous chapter on the top of the page of the new part. And it's
man.
just, it's obvious things, and I'm just really despaired with them. But I can't do anything about it. I'm coming to the end. As soon as I drop off from them and get the book published, then I'm done with them, and they're not going to get a very good review. Having said that, my contact there, Nicole, is exceptionally good at customer service.
That's good.
So I'm very annoyed.
How did you choose your publisher? Are they're a publisher group, or are they?
That's a good question, and I actually went over that week before last on 1 Million Cups. What I did was I researched different publishers, got a list of publishers, and then on each of the publishers' site you see books that they published.
Yeah.
So I took the authors off of them books. I went on to LinkedIn. I found the majority of those authors on LinkedIn, and I messaged them directly and said, "What did you think about your publisher?"
Yeah.
And Gatekeeper came back with some good feedback.
Yeah.
I think the problem with Gatekeeper is that they publish novels.
Oh.
Mine's a business book.
Yeah.
And that's the mistake I made. How many business books have you published? And when I asked them that question after I'm logged with them and after I've paid them money and after I've started, they haven't done too many business books.
Aw.
Because, with a novel, you've just got a book and it's words.
Right. Yeah, you're talking about little bits and pieces about a demonstration and like teaching someone something.
Yeah.
Really.
I mean, I've got diagrams, I've got tables, I've got pie charts, I've got all kinds of stuff,
Yeah. Apparently John Barney's joined us, but I don't see his, like on my screen here, I don't even see like a, oh, there you are, John. It's because my angle was wrong. I had something up. Well, so the big thing is, one of the big takeaways is not just finding what other people's experiences are, but did they do something similar to what you're wanting to do?
Yeah.
Oh.
But it's on the close, so I'm okay with that. As long as I get published this month, I don't mind. And then I'm waiting to get published so I can go on a Clubhouse and social media and start pushing on the book. And so my new website, I'm going to be concentrating more on just two things: simple strategic planning for ongoing businesses and startups.
Yeah.
And that's why I've been absent for the last couple of weeks, because I've had a lot of. I'm also I got a position as an advisor to the executive and board of a nonprofit in Pennsylvania. So,
oh yeah, that's right.
So I'm doing some work with them as well.
So that turned out pretty well.
Yeah, it's going pretty well. We've got the board a little bit more engaged now, but we still got some more work to do.
Wow.
And we run a great swap. I got every single member of the board to do their own swap and send it in. We've got a huge amount of data on how
cool.
they can do things better. It's really going.
That's cool. Well, hey, John, you want to introduce yourself a little bit? And
Sure. Hi, I'm John Barney. I'm a retired electronics engineer, a little hardware and software. Continuing, I'm always a continuous learner, so this next month is going to be C++. Last couple of months was um, Python, and having lots of fun. I got interested in QR codes. I don't know if you're familiar with them. Those are the little square codes.
Oh yeah.
And my brother, who grows tomatoes up in Oregon, and he wants to put QR codes on his labels for his plants.
I have two experiences with QR codes in particular. One was I was doing a hackathon at UNMH, which is a thing where people randomly get together on one weekend and come up with an idea and win a competition, and then see if they can take that idea that they put together during the competition later. And what we were using QR codes for was to get around the hospital, and because it's hard for satellites and stuff to reach inside of a location, so a QR code would be your way of referencing where you are, and then it would work with a system. And the other one is there was a company I was talking to, and they were trying to use sports goods, especially outdoor sports goods. Well, what other kind of sports are there? Anyway, used outdoor goods, and they were figuring out QR codes were way better than USPS. USPS? What's that thing called? The
UPS.
UPS, yeah.
Yes.
The UPS bars, because like there's these items and they're just flopping around, and so if you can get that, you scan it easier.
Well, and plus most cell phones nowadays can scan the QR codes, and they can take you to your website or a million things that they can do. And occasionally there are some malicious ones out there, so you want to be careful.
Okay, well, it's good to know. Well, cool. And then Kobe just joined us again. Are you able to put your website up, Kobe? I'll click you in when you are able to.
I'm not going to do video. With the storm, we had storm come through here last night, and it's anytime we get rain, our internet goes weird.
No, that's fine.
Or any kind of weather, our internet goes weird. So I'm trying to cut down on my bandwidth.
Yeah. But
are you able to do video? Just do audio? Yeah,
that's fine. Yeah, I don't care if you do audio or video particularly, especially if it works better for you. But do you have a website that you'd want to pull up?
Yeah, it's just wcolbysmith.com.
Throw it in the chat there with HTTPS in front of it. And then I'll come on over at you. So, yeah. So, John, you are currently working on C++ to figure that out, and you're. Oh, hey, Phil. John has been looking for stuff to do to get back out there. Could you tell him a little about what one of the ways that you found you can be of service?
What do you mean?
You're the group you're working with Philadelphia now because you worked through a group called what again?
Oh, that was on LinkedIn. It's an organization called FireChat.
FireChat. Okay.
Yeah. And they find you if you want to go in and if you're looking for helping out.
But is it admin only, or is it also a tech thing? Like, could someone get in there and do?
It covers all industries.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So, but LinkedIn's a good place to research and find opportunities and meet people and chat with people. You have to be pretty. LinkedIn is one of those things that if you're active on it and you post on it regularly, then you do get responses. I do posts on there probably once a week, sometimes more than once a week. I'm going to be putting another one up today.
Yeah.
I've done articles on there on strategy. On my posts, one of the weekly posts up on, I got over 5,000 views.
Yeah.
Generally I get around about 200-300. and then you start connecting with other people. You start having that conversations.
Yeah.
So it's useful.
That's cool. So John, you're still looking for some, you're looking to get involved some way, right?
Yes. And, I think where I could be of most value would be some kind of technical project, particularly if it involved hardware and software and sensors and all that kind of stuff, maybe some robotic stuff. And just while I like studying at home, I realize that I'm a kind of guy that gets motivated by real projects that do real things.
Fireplace, or what's the thing called, Phil?
FireChat.
FireChat. Thank you.
So how would that work as far as like when he would log on to FireChat? What's the process go like?
Oh, that's a good question. I didn't look. I got it through LinkedIn, so I'm gonna start pulling it up and have a look.
So it's called fireChat.firebaseapp.com is what I've got on here. FireChat, open source chat built on Firebase. Okay, I see. So FireChat was your platform, but it wasn't like it. Is it focused on volunteer stuff, or am I getting the wrong thing here?
Yeah, I'm trying to pick it up on LinkedIn here.
Okay, and maybe I've got the wrong thing.
Yeah, I'll look while you're chatting.
Okay, you'll figure out. Thank you. Yeah, because I think you found a really cool resource there that like even I might want to use for, like, if I want to kind of get out there and try out something new or reestablish my understanding of something. That sounds like it's a great group that you can volunteer to kind of get your feet wet if you wanted to get into something. And well, as you're already finding out, then you can also do service and stuff while and putting your skills to use. Colby,
I'll be looking at it this afternoon.
Yeah, this is, by the way, this is the wrong link. Don't go find this one.
Okay.
All right, so Colby, tell us what your quest is and how your business works. And
so
again,
our partnership with companies to help them to share their story, to get their information out. What I do is I take and manage their marketing, their strategy, and their marketing campaigns, their marketing materials, so that they can focus on their customer experience. Working directly with their customers, and not necessarily worry about the initial. I do the initial experience for them. I do the continued experience for return customers. So it's given them an overall look and feel, and just helping them to be able to engage their customers.
Cool. Let me just jump back here. Are these? Oh, do you have anything behind these guys?
If you go into the portfolio, there's stuff.
Okay.
It should be linking to the portfolio page. So I'm not. If it's not, that should. I don't know why it's not doing that, because it's set up to, on mine it's linking back there.
Oh, okay. Mine didn't want to do that, I guess. This is where it would have brought me though. First Church Preschool. Switch rail safety system. Cool. Some lucky Bernies. That's funny. Cool stuff. So you help these guys set up their systems and how they're going to communicate their exciting abilities to others.
Yeah, so I'll help them determine if they're not sure who their target audience is. I can help them identify their target audience and determine what materials, whether it's whether it's all a website or a physical brochure or whatever that is designed specifically for to target that audience.
Cool. Well, thank you. So we're gonna move forward here with my new share. So I'm gonna switch back over to the presentation. Okay. I'm gonna shrink that guy. Is this the right one? I think this is the right one. Okay. All right. Yeah. So the topic today was going to be our polls. What use are polls? Because I think there could be a pretty good use of these. But I just don't know how many people have used it well, and I think it can be. Now, I've got a teacher background, so to me, having that information, and this kind of sounds like the way you like to approach things too, Phil, is like the information you have about the people you're working with, or trying to help out. That's it's really helpful to have a little feedback on that. What I've seen a lot of the polls used for right now, and this is just limited, is in a lot of these networking events. They'll just poll random things that have nothing that really help you figure out what's going on in the world as far as the project. But that's probably part of the beast. It's not really because they're trying to work as a group, but 1 Million Cups, for instance, I could see them using a poll saying, if we didn't have a speaker, what topic would you like us to cover? And they could have these different topics on there, and then they could, go back and do that. That's something I could see being done. Have you guys seen polls being used on virtual calls?
I have used polls for all sorts of things for clients and everything, and it has never ever garnered me any kind of usable feedback. It's been just random stuff. Either there's no response, or it's just the data's been unusable for us.
My experience has been every time somebody says, well, would you mind filling out this questionnaire? Then I find out that they got 40 questions. And if you answered those 40, then they got another 20 questions. And I just don't do it anymore.
Yeah.
Well, to me, surveys and polls are two different things.
Okay, thank you.
So I think if you do a survey and you've got the survey tailored toward the audience that you're wanting to get information from, you can get some usable information from that. But if you're just doing a poll asking people questions and you're not getting any additional feedback, then I don't see where there's been any there's been any benefit from that.
So say that part again. What you're not getting feedback, or you didn't get feedback, or
if there's no feedback, if you're just doing a straight poll where you're not asking more questions. If it's just like a yes or no, or rank your things where you're not wanting any explanation on what people are answering. To me, that's what a poll is. So if you're doing a survey and you're asking a question, but then you're wanting more information about that, then that gives you a broader perspective of what you're trying to gather information on. And to me, that's much more useful than just a simple poll where you're just, you've got radio boxes where you're clicking what yes, no, or indifferent type things.
Okay. So the people involved are going to be the people presenting, and the people that are going to be doing the polls. And the system's limits and the learning what you're doing with it is what exactly does it all mean? Like when we talk about a poll, are people now expecting 40 different questions, or are they asking just these one-offs like Colby's talking about, right?
Well, the only time I use polls now is on social media, where actually I don't manifest the poll, but and that's on Facebook. I mean, every now and again, I mean, I like to go through Facebook, maybe once a day or once every other day. But every now and again, it's just fun stuff, you know. So they'll put on polls like, especially from England, they'll say, you know, what was the 10 best films for when you were a kid or something like that, or not. They would give you the films and say which ones did you like the most or something like that. So those kind of polls I do on Facebook, because they're just quick and you just click them and you get an instant answer and you can see everybody else's answer. So, but like Colby says, surveys are completely different. Surveys about a specific subject, and you have to tailor questions, and it's very difficult to try and tailor questions on a neutral basis to get people to respond to them. Because if you bias questions, you can bias questions to get people to think in a specific way. And so you don't actually end up with learning much because you just convince people. So, yeah, I don't do polls other than for fun things on social media.
So, I can't edit it when it's in progress. So you don't actually use it. You haven't seen it actually used during a conference meeting, but you have found it's kind of handy. Some one-offs on social media.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like Colby. You get nothing. I have tried polls in the past on various little questions that I wanted answers to, but the response is almost zero. So don't bother with them anymore.
So you haven't bothered. So when have you not gotten the results that you're looking for?
It's been such a long time since I've even tried to use them, Adam.
I
don't really remember.
That's funny. Okay. Well, the reason I brought it up is because I've thought about using it for, something like this. And for me, I think it would be really handy at times, but it's also a lot of preparation. And that's the limit I see it in, for me, because I haven't really done the experience of using the poll. But I would say, I want to try and zoom in on this thing so I can type this in there. So the problem for me is that it takes extra work to get it all set up. And for instance, right now, I'd like it if I had this in white. This is in but so I'm gonna do my format. These are little bits and pieces. Like there's like a master slide on this thing where you can set up all these what the common thing is. And since I usually have a black background, it should be in white, but for some reason it's not the way this is working, which is format. There we go.
One of the difficulties with all of these tools is using them enough to be really efficient on them.
Right. Which is one of the reasons I'm doing this up. Are you talking so with the polls, that's one of the things that that's one of the things about them is it just takes extra steps to go ahead and set it up.
There's lots of polls.
And I don't know if the payoff is there.
Polls are easy to set up. There are, there's plenty of online tools. Facebook has stuff built in. There's you can do one real quick in SurveyMonkey. I mean, the setting up the polls are not hard. My issue is what I'm getting out of it. You know, even
Right.
if it's a poll that's taken me a few minutes to put together,
Yeah.
that's great. But if I'm not getting anything out of it, even that 5 minutes it took me to put the poll together was wasted.
Yeah. Well, you learned that the poll wasn't the thing that to help you. So there's some feedback from it, but you've learned that you don't want to go back and do that again.
Yeah. Yeah, the feedback is there's no feedback.
Because people don't like it. Now, John, you're saying that when you see a poll, you think of a survey, you think of a lot of questions that are expecting deep responses.
Well, I guess I need a definition of what the difference between a survey and a poll is. What I'm talking about is, okay, I logged on to the pharmacy, online pharmacy, and went through the whole stuff and got some medications coming. And then they say, wouldn't you please like to answer a questionnaire?
Help us out.
About how, and I've just found those, you know, you talk about feedback. I never get any feedback that says it was worth my trouble to fill out the form.
Oh, that's a good point. And so the thing I was pulling up was that, Colby, you have an understanding when you say poll, what you think. But when someone like John or anyone else sees a poll, they don't know what they're getting into. And what probably happened is the barrier between what you wanted them to do and what they thought you were asking them to do is they probably thought you were doing the Walgreens survey. And all you're wanting, Colby, was just a few words back, right?
No, I don't think so. Because I mean, you know, when you're talking about, you know, when you're looking at you're talking the news and they're talking about how they polled people, you know, about such and such, you know, it's usually like a yes or no, you know, little answer thing. So I think a lot of people think of polls and surveys as being different.
I could see the difference, but I hear the two words pretty much as if they're the same thing. It's, you know, survey says from Price is Right, right? And those are yes or no or like brief answer kind of questions. So that's a pretty pop. I think that you have a good definition, and I think people share that with you. But I think it's also it's telling that two people in our group don't see it that way. So maybe you got to find the people that see the distinction. What did the audience get back? Yeah, so that's a neat point you made up too, John. Pointed out too, John, is that when people then take this survey or poll, and I've done some other stuff, lab tests and things for research, and I always wanted to know, like, oh, what was the result? You know, I got involved in this thing. What's going to come from it? And that is nice to know what the result would be back. But that's a good point. So, and what's the reach as far as the polls? So, Colby, when you're using those polls, are you giving a presentation like online, or is this back to the social media thing?
I've done it different ways. I mean, I've done it where it's social media. I mean, if I have a engaged audience, you know, if we're in a meeting and I'm throwing up just a quick little poll, that's different than if I'm trying to reach a broader audience with you know, just a short little poll. You know, if we're sitting here, you know, if the four of us are here and they're talking and I'm going, hey, you know, what's your opinion on, you know, chili? Do you prefer red or green? And you guys are giving me red, green. That's a poll.
Yeah.
Right. Because I'm asking you a question, and it's a real confined audience with a, you know, with you know, an immediate response. So I know I'm going to get an answer from you guys. If it's something that I'm posting on social media with it's a broader group of people, then that's going to be a little different, because that's not this immediate thing, and that's not something that's going to necessarily tailor which direction I'm going thing. That's just an information gathering thing. But if it's going to be a broader group of people like that, then I'm going to go a little more on the survey, because that's going to give me even more information. It's like, okay, you like red and green. Well, what is it about the red that you like as opposed to the green? And so when I'm doing the survey like that, then I'm getting more information that I can use. And people are going to be more, my experience is people are much more inclined to answer when it's something like that, because I'm asking them not only a simple question, but I'm asking an opinion and asking them to explain their answer. Does that make sense?
I followed some of it, but also partly I was trying to figure out how to summarize it, so I wasn't listening for parts of it too. So the responses in virtual, you get some feedback on virtual meetings, but in social media, you don't get really good feedback.
Right. So if I'm sending out a newsletter or doing something on social media, then it's just a simple poll, then there's not response, because there's no, to me, my experience is there hasn't been as much in-depth feedback on it. So people aren't really, if people see that they're going to be engaging something and there's going to be a value of their time to answer more than a yes or no question or a simple question, and it also has to be tailored toward your audience, toward your targeted audience. So if I'm just throwing out a generic question, then I'm going to be much less likely to get a response than if it's a targeted survey, asking a couple of questions, digging in to the initial question to a target audience. Then I'm going to get more information. I'm going to get more response, and it's going to be much more valuable, both to the people taking the survey and to me, who's getting the information from the survey.
So, okay. And then, Phil, you also brought up the social media stuff, and that's what you think of when you think of the polls and things. And you got some pretty good responses, or because you say they come up on you create them, but how's that work for you?
No, I don't bother to create polls anymore. Just don't do them. I just respond to the ones on social media that I enjoy doing,
Yeah.
And they're instant, and you see what the results are. And I think the most extensive survey I ever did was when I was doing my thesis, and I was doing it on international business, and that was pretty huge. But my audience was kind of fairly well captured, because I used all the students that were at the university, and but I think and you can get a lot of information from the survey. But I do think one of the things you have to be careful when you're doing a survey is how you phrase the questions, like I said earlier, because you can write a question to get an answer that you want, and or that you don't want, and not right. You need to write a question. You need to make a question as neutral as possible, so that you get an honest feedback to it. And that's the trick with surveys. I mean, people just think, okay, I'm just going to put down a bunch of questions, but because you have a mindset about what you believe, you can easily write a question that's biased wrongly, and you're not going to get the right answer. So to actually put a survey together that's going to be informative and useful is actually very difficult.
Yeah. Another approach is to write questions in different ways. in order to like, give different options and feel around. But that means that people are then asking more, having to answer more questions like John talked about, like, I'm tired of answering all these questions.
Yeah, well, some questions.
And if it's a survey that's going to take more than 5 minutes, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to spend a lot of time doing a survey because I want the questions to be concise and to the point, and I don't want to have to go through pages and pages and pages of surveys. If I get a survey, because a lot of the surveys I'll do says, this will take approximately 5 minutes, or this will take approximately whatever, which I think one is very helpful because that helps me determine if the value of my time, if I've got enough time to complete the survey, because there's nothing that's more irritating than you start getting on a survey that just never ends and you've got other things to do. Right. Yeah. So I like something that one tells me how much time I can expect to take. And I think there's that fine line between asking too few questions and asking too many questions. And you've got to have that balanced out.
Yeah. So have any of you guys, and this is neat topic information to know about, like, thinking about social media and the different things that it'll catch and things that you've looked into, and thinking about the audience when you're doing this big. But I'm also curious really specifically about this like during a virtual meeting and how you've seen that work. But real quick, go ahead and answer the poll that I've put out there, because I'm also trying to figure out how to use the poll here on Zoom. So do you guys see it on there? How's it look on your screens?
Yeah, I see it. Fine.
Is it on the bottom or does it pop up in front of you?
Mine's on a separate page or a separate monitor. I've got two monitors.
Uh-huh.
Mine popped up in the middle of my monitor.
Okay.
And the click buttons worked.
Great.
I'll try submit.
Attendees are now viewing questions. Attendees are now viewing questions. Okay. 3 of 3 are viewing the questions. Oh, voted. 100% voted. Okay. So end the poll. And I mean, these are kind of nonsense questions. I mean, it is kind of interesting, but share results. So I can share the results on here. And I don't know what it looks like on your screen, but I've got one in the middle of my screen that.
It's good.
Yeah. So you can see that you think there's no used response. There's a lot of people think that. 2 out of 3. 1 out of 3 thinks for client info it could be helpful. All right. Well, and so that's kind of like one of the ways it could be used on social media, is that you get this feedback of like, so real quick, just getting the feel of the water out there. What are people thinking? And I think that's one of the ways I kind of want to use it. But I don't know if anyone's ever seen that used effectively in a virtual meeting.
I've never seen it used in a virtual meeting, but I like that because I actually got some feedback.
Yeah.
Not the only one that hasn't done it.
Yeah. I'm not the only one that hasn't done it. Yeah, that kind of thing, right? And with a small group, it's like, okay, so who are the 2 and who are the 3? And in this, see, it says multiple choice, which, is kind of funny because what they mean on Zoom is that you could have chosen more than one thing, as opposed to single choice, which means of the multiple choices, you had to choose one, which is, I think, a little confusing the way they put that. But that's a little quirk in case you're ever on one of these again and you see it says multiple choice. That's what they're getting at.
You could actually click 2 buttons if you wanted to.
Yeah, you could have, it's they are the most amazing, which I didn't expect anyone to put on there. I just wanted to put that on there for kicks. And then you could also say project guidance, or you could just click on all these, like, oh, these are all kind of useful for that or whatever. Or you could say none, which and that's a lot of the feedback is, so Phil, you're saying you like to do polls on social media that you see the feedback. John, you said you like to, you wanted to have the feedback when you did the thing for Walgreens.
Yeah, certainly sometimes.
And that this one really kind of excited you because you saw the results right away. And so there's the feedback. And in fact, it's a reward for your brain that when you do it, if your presenter's doing well, they'll take it, they'll give you the results that you are interacting with, because then your brain will feedback, oh, I get the results. And so if you're accustomed to like filling out surveys and polls and not seeing the results, you have you're in a large audience, it'll shift if the presenter is good enough that they say, like, maybe start off with a small one to kind of get everyone warmed up to how they do it. And that's what I'm figuring is, like, you could set up a small poll at the beginning, and then you share the results to show people, okay, we share this result, you'll get the feedback, it'll kind of reward the brain. And so the next time they put on a poll during that particular presentation, they'll probably have better responses, or at least a little more informed responses, that people know their feedback is going to be shown, and they want to maybe be more participatory. I don't know. That's a guess. So that's cool. Well, thanks for doing that little poll with me too and talking. We've reached the part in our session here where did the poll go away, or did you guys click it off?
It's there until I close it.
Okay, so you can close it though. All right, I just don't want, because I closed mine, but I was like, oh, I didn't like stop sharing or anything. Cool. So thank you for the feedback. That was kind of fun to talk about with me. I got to change up my master slide on this because I've got the new logo and all that. And we're going to go back to this presentation here. What was that? Okay. So, connect me with, okay, these are questions last time, your 5-minute ask last time. And I wonder what happened to my 5-minute ask page. Oh, here it is. What 10-second thing can I do to help you on your quest? So we got about a few minutes here to just, again, the reason I do this is because I'm trying to wrap up the meeting with something that's kind of a takeaway and also moving forward. And it's good for me to know how I can help people out. So in 10 seconds, what's something we can do that can help you during your quest? And when I talk about quests, I'm thinking more of the fact that, like, we've got these big questions we're trying to answer and trying to work on. And that's one of the reasons we started our business, is because, especially as entrepreneurs, it probably has a lot of identification of who we are and what we want to do. And so I will start with the kind of the same way presented. So Phil, John, and Kobe will be the order it goes in. So Phil, what's something I do 10 seconds to help you out?
No idea.
John, what's something I could do 10 seconds to help you out?
Tell me subjects that you would like a presentation on.
Oh, on dealing with tech, you're saying?
Yeah, I was thinking I probably spent 40 to 50 hours getting up to date on QR codes, so that might be something that people would be interested in.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Let's do that.
Okay.
All right, John, Kobe?
I'm looking for businesses that are either starting up or that have kind of stalled out, where I can help them to share their story with others and increase their customer experience, grow their customer experience.
So you'd like us to send you the contact information? What way would you want to contact them?
I'll contact them however they want to be contacted.
So let us know someone and how they like to be contacted. That wants to tell their story with their business. Right?
Right.
Okay, cool.
Hey,
Phil,
I do have to tell you this. I've just taken a professor from UNM.
Yeah.
Through their iCore program, and we've actually yesterday she actually submitted a proposal to the National Science Foundation for their seed funding project, which I've done with Annie before. You know, Alan.
Yeah.
Her product, all right. She came to me. She was directed to me by Stuart Rose down at 1 Million Cuts. And so I asked her about our product, and you know, she was telling me all about it, and I can't say anything about it because I've got an NDA with her now. But it's a product that I have rarely seen a product have so much competitive advantage against the incumbent technology that's out there at the present time. I mean, it's just phenomenal.
Yeah.
I mean, if this lady is successful, I don't know what would stumble her up. I mean, if the product works as it's designed to do, it's gonna really disrupt the markets that she's going to move into. It's absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
what are we taking from this? I mean, it's cool. I'm happy to hear about it.
It's you know, I've done some work with Danny, and I've done a few startups before I got into the New Mexico area. But I've never seen one individual product have so much advantage over the existing technology in the marketplace.
So you just got something exciting going on in your world.
Yeah, once we get this proof of concept completed and go to market, she's going to be rolling.
That's great. Well, talking about possible things, next time we're going to talk about regenerative options. So regenerative is kind of like, I talk about the difference between solidarity and sustainability. Well, regenerative is basically solidarity. It's the idea that we're like regenerating and things as far as the environment and people's interactions go. And so one of them is this gasification stuff that the DOE has been really pushing to get information out there about. And so we'll talk a little bit about that and the different ways that can improve your systems. So just a fun topic I'm really excited about talking about. So it's neat that everyone comes and gets to share these topics with me and talk them out. We get to see a little more about the business going on out there and keep the sparks flowing. Thank you guys for coming.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.
Have a good weekend.
Bye, everyone.